Welcome to today's presentation. My name is Koen Lijffijt and I'm going to tell you something about the fancy gym MuscleHub and the A/B test we conducted in order to determine whether the fitness test they were administering was drawing in members or chasing them away. So, we're going to start with a little introduction. I'm going to explain what MuscleHub is, what potential problem they were experiencing with their fitness test. Then we're going to move on to the A/B test we conducted. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the data set we used for that test. Then I'm going to discuss the results. Afterwards, I'm going to discuss our qualitative data. And then finally, I'm going to give my recommendation as to what MuscleHub should do about their fitness test. So let's start with the introduction. MuscleHub is a fancy gym that has a three-step process for introducing new members and drawing them in to get a membership. After people visit, they take a fitness test with a personal trainer. After this is done, they fill out an application, and then finally, at the 1st of next month, they send in their first payment of their new membership. However, Janet, the owner of MuscleHub, has expressed some concern about this first step, about the fitness test. In fact, she feels that it might be intimidating to some potential customers. So for that reason, we decided to conduct a A/B test with two different groups. Group A, in which people, potential customers, did receive the fitness test, and Group B with potential customers that did not receive the fitness test. So this A/B test, it started in 2017. That's when we started collecting data, and we've collected data of over 5,004 people. Now, 2,504 are part of Group A and did receive the fitness test, and 2,500 are part of Group B. So there's not an exact 50-50 split, but it's about as close as you can get. So what data did we actually collect about these people who visited the gym? Well, we collected their first and last name, their email, their gender, and then the things that are actually relevant to this research: the date of visit, the fitness test date. So this informs us to which group they belong. If there is a date, they are in Group A. If there's no date, they are in Group B. The application date, should they have applied. And then finally, the purchase date. This is the date when they paid for their membership, or the first payment for their new membership. So, essentially, this is the three-step process once again, only this time in funnel form. So, they visit, and then, like I said, Group A receives the fitness test. So the fitness test takes place between the visit and application phase. Should they enjoy their stay, they fill out an application, and then finally they become members. So as you can see, it's a three-step process in which with each step potential customers are lost. That's why it's called a funnel. However, ideally it would look like this, but in practice it doesn't. In fact, based on the 5,004 people we collected data on, it looks like this. So the total is the people who came to visit, and then we jump to application, and only 11.5% of these 5,004 people are left. And then when we go to the membership phase, there's another drop-off of another 2.5%. But of course, this is significantly less than between the visit and application phase. So this emphasizes the importance of this fitness test, because this fitness test is supposed to act as a bridge between these two phases. It's supposed to entice people to apply and become a member. And if it's not working properly, then a lot of potential new customers and a lot of potential new members are lost. So This is groups A and B together. Now let's look at the funnel for each group separately. As you can see, they look similar in size per phase. However, there are some small differences. As you can see, both have around 2,500 people who came to visit. But then for the application phase, Group A has 250 people, where Group B has 325. And the same is true for the membership, with Group A having 200, while Group B has 250. Now I want to remind you that Group A is actually the group that did receive the fitness test. So based on this data, it might be possible that the fitness test is actually doing the opposite of its intended effect. It's not drawing people in to become a member, no, it's chasing them away. However, is this data statistically significant? Well, in order to find that out, we need to do a test, and that's exactly what we did. So for our statistics test, we proposed 3 hypotheses. The first one, there is no significant difference in the number of applications that were picked up between Group A and B. So we're going to compare Group A and B to see if there is a statistically significant difference between the number of applications that were picked up. Then for hypothesis 2, there is no significant difference in the number of people who picked up an application as well as a membership between Group A and B. So in this case, we're going to look at the number of memberships that were picked up, but only as part of the groups of people who already applied. And then finally, hypothesis 3, and this is the big one, there is no significant difference in the number of people who picked up a membership between Group A and B. So for this one, we're going to look at the difference between the two groups in members as part of the people who came to visit. So this is a lot of text. That's why I'm going to take you back to the funnel and further illustrate what these hypotheses are. So, hypothesis 1, the application as part of a visit. So we're basically going to look or going to test if there is a difference, statistically significant difference, between the number of applicants in Group A as part of the people who came to visit in Group A and the 325 people who applied in Group B and the 2,500 that came to visit as part of Group B. Then for 2, we're going to look at the memberships as part of the applications. And then finally, for hypothesis 3, we're going to look at the memberships as part of the people who came to visit. Now, our hypotheses is that there is no difference between the two groups. What type of test are we going to be using? Well, essentially what we're testing is if there's a relationship between people getting a membership and having taken a fitness test. So essentially what that means is that you're asking the question whether there is a difference between categorical variables in the same population. So we have one population, that is the people who came to visit. We've divided that population up into 2 groups, one that did get a fitness test and one that didn't. And now we're going to test if there's a relationship between getting the fitness test and getting a membership. So the statistical test that is suited for such a question is the chi-square test. And for our test, we're going to use a confidence level of 95%. And this means that the p-value that results from our calculation needs to be below 0.05 in order to be significant and reject one of our 3 hypotheses. So let's move on to the first hypothesis. The p-value that resulted from our calculation for this hypothesis was 0.0096, which means that it is lower than the 0.05 that we had set for our confidence level. which means that the hypothesis is rejected and there is in fact a difference between the two groups. And since there are more applicants in group B than there are in group A, it's not exactly looking good for our fitness test. But what about hypothesis 2? Well, the p-value for this hypothesis resulted in 0.43259. Well, as you can see, that is a lot higher than 0.05 we had selected for our confidence level, so it is not rejected. And this means, and I want to emphasize this, is that there is no difference between the two groups. So this doesn't mean that the fitness test is necessarily more efficient in drawing people in and getting them a membership than no fitness test. It means that there is no discernible difference between administering a fitness test or doing nothing. And then finally, hypothesis 3. Is there a difference between the two groups in the number of memberships taken as opposed to the total number of visitors? Well, for this calculation, our p-value turned out to be 0.01472, which is lower than the 0.05 we had selected for our confidence level, which means that again this hypothesis is rejected as well, and that there is in fact a difference between the two groups. And again, as we can see here, there are more members in group B than there are in group A. So it appears to be the case that the fitness test is actually pushing people away from getting a membership rather than enticing them to get one. But what about our qualitative data? Well, we did collect qualitative data. We did this in the form of interviews. In fact, we interviewed 4 people. 2 of them did take the fitness test. 2 of them did take the fitness test. 2 of them didn't. So let's start with the people that did not take the fitness test. Well, both commented and said that not having it made them feel welcome, because both actually visited one of MuscleHub's competitors before coming to MuscleHub, and they actually did do a fitness test there, and it drove them away. The first person did made them feel welcome because they did not have to take a test. Second person had a similar response and expressed appreciation for not having to take such a test. However, this person did not end up becoming a member because, quote, the weight machines were having all those sweat stains on them. So this could be indicative of the idea that the fitness test, of course, is part of what drives people in, or draws people to MuscleHub, but in fact there are many other factors that could be drawing people in or chasing them away that we're currently not taking into account. Well, what about the people who did take the fitness test? Well, the first person we interviewed expressed regret about taking the test. So of course that's not a good sign. But then the second person had a much more interesting response, because he or she found it, quote, super helpful, and mentioned that he or she had to sign up and keep coming back after taking the fitness test. So this is interesting because it conflicts with the data we collected, or previous data, and it actually shows that there potentially might be a small subset of our population for which the fitness test is a motivating factor in signing up and becoming a member. So this brings us to my recommendation. Quantitative data has shown that there is a significant association between people not taking a fitness test and becoming a member. So based on that, we should get rid of the fitness test, because of course it takes a lot of time and it makes a lot of money, or it takes a lot of money, and it's having the adverse effect of what it's intended to do. However, like I just said, the qualitative data has shown that there might potentially be a small subset of the population who actually appreciates such a test, and it helps become them a member. So what is there to do then? Well, what I would advise is further research. Of course, there's always more research to be done, but I would like to re-emphasize that 90% of potential customers are lost between the application phase, or between the visit phase and the application phase of our model. So tools such as the fitness test might actually be worth further investigating, because upping this percentage is this place between the visit phase and the application phase is the point where there is much to be gained. And we already, of course, have a data set. Like I said before, we collected first names, last names, email addresses, etc. But more importantly, we also collected data on people's gender. So what we could do is further research in determining whether there's a connection between people enjoying a fitness test and becoming a member, and them being male, female, or non-binary. Of course, if Janet from MuscleHub is not interested at this point, I would advise to get rid of the fitness test, because it's just not cost efficient. However, if she is interested in doing further research, I would very much advise that. And with that, we have come at the end of my presentation. I hope you found it insightful, and I wish you all a good day.